From this jaw-dropping crash to this one. The champions of Formula One have had their fair share of heart-stopping moments over the years. So, let's get into these crashes one level at a time, working up to the most death-defying. Now, Lewis Hamilton might have been racing in Formula One for almost 2 decades, and has certainly danced with death on more than one occasion. But for me, his most brutal crash has to be his incident all the way back in his rookie season at Nürburgring. It was Q3, and Hamilton was pushing hard, but just as he approached turn 8, the unthinkable happened. His right front tyre exploded at over 170 miles per hour. Seriously, that was brutal. You can almost feel the impact through the screen. After the crash, Hamilton was moving his legs up and down to check if anything was broken before being rushed to the hospital by the medical car. But thankfully, just a few hours later, he was given the all clear and returned to the paddock to race on Sunday. Now that is just insane, but the next crash on this list, well, that takes things to a whole nother level. Kimi Raikkonen is known as the Iceman for good reason. I mean, have you ever seen a driver flip a rally car at full speed and somehow emerge from the crash unscathed, while also wearing his cap and sunglasses? But I'd be surprised if even Kimi managed to keep his cool during his crash at Silverstone in 2014.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
As the lights went out, everything was running as normal. But as the cars approached the Wellington Straight, a truly horrifying spectacle unfolded.
Very deep, haven't they? It's a Ferrari, it's Kimi Raikkonen. Oh, he's gone off into the barrier as well. That's a big shunt. It's a big shunt for the Ferrari. It takes the Williams there.
Wow, that was genuinely terrifying. Raikkonen collided with the barriers at over 47 Gs, narrowly escaping impalement by oncoming cars. As the dust settled, Kimi limped out of his disintegrated Ferrari, miraculously only sustaining a bruised ankle and leg. I mean, the crash barrier took more damage than that. But that wasn't the only crash the Finn was involved in, because in 2017, at the Singapore Grand Prix, his teammate Sebastian Vettel sparked a first corner incident that is etched into the Formula One history books. Vettel was on pole, with the 2 Red Bulls of Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo lining up behind him, followed by Raikkonen in the other Ferrari. As if that starting grid wasn't intense enough, a rain shower just before the race start set the stage for carnage to unfold. And as the lights went out, that's exactly what happened.
And it's lights out, away we go. Verstappen gets an excellent start. Sebastian Vettel needs to cover him up. Kimi Raikkonen on the inside, and he's crashed with Verstappen. He's hit Vettel as well. Raikkonen is out before the first corner, and he's gone into the Red Bull there as well.
And to top it all off, just one corner later, Vettel's damage saw him spin into the barriers, ending his race. That might not have been the most high-speed crash on this list, but man, that was just utterly insane. But even that crash looks like child's play compared to the death-defying heights, quite literally, reached by Nico Rosberg at the 2012 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. An early collision saw Rosberg pit for a new front wing on the first lap, relegating him to 20th place by the time he rejoined the race. But as he approached the backmarker HRT of Narayan Karthikeyan, nobody, and I mean nobody, could have predicted what happened next.
Abu Dhabi, Lewis Hamilton leads. Oh, there is the HRT, and there's Nico Rosberg, who is definitely out of this race and straight out of the car as well.
Honestly, that crash is as bizarre as it was frightening. Karthikeyan had experienced a sudden loss of hydraulic pressure in his HRT, and in a panic, he slowed down, just as Rosberg was about to overtake him. All I can say is, thank God the Mercedes didn't flip upside down while airborne. Both drivers miraculously walked away from the incident unscathed, and that truly is a testament to how far safety in Formula One has come. But even the safety barriers couldn't stop this next crash from being one of the most gut-wrenching I've ever seen. We all know Monaco is an unforgiving track, with literally no margin for error, and nobody knows this better than the 2009 world champion Jenson Button, after his incident during practice at the 2003 Monaco Grand Prix. The session was running smoothly, but as Button emerged from the Monaco tunnel, everybody's heart skipped a beat. You saw that right. 180 miles per hour crash straight into the barriers. 180. Button was briefly knocked unconscious by the shunts, and I can't say I'm surprised. That impact was devastating, and the worst part, Button couldn't even get out of the car himself, with the medics having to rush in and pull him out. He was taken to the hospital by an ambulance, but thankfully, after just 15 minutes, the news broke that Button was conscious and responsive. He was held overnight at the hospital as a precautionary measure and withdrew from the race on Sunday. But man, he was just lucky to walk away from a crash that monumental with his life. And speaking of monumental, the incident of this next champion is arguably one of the most infamous crashes of the past few decades. It was the 2021 Silverstone Grand Prix, and the battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton had never been more ferocious. And as Max lined up in P1, with Hamilton just behind in P2, it didn't take a genius to work out that something cataclysmic was about to go down.
It's lights out and away we go. Once again, Max Verstappen gets a decent start. Not as good as yesterday. Hamilton is right with him. Leclerc is already ahead of Bottas.
Hamilton was doing everything in his power to try and overtake Max, but as they approached Copse Corner at 180 miles per hour, things got a little too close for comfort.
On the inside, a continent touch. Verstappen is out of the race, and that's a big crash into Copse.
That was scary. The spectators looked on in horror, just hoping to see any sign of movement from the Dutch driver. But they didn't have to wait long, as seconds later, by some miracle, Max managed to pull himself out of the cockpit before the medics arrived at the scene. He was rushed to the hospital for a full checkup, but thankfully, just a few hours later, he was given the all clear. I honestly don't know how he walked away from that one injury-free. I mean, the crash was recorded at over 51 Gs. That's just mind-boggling. But if you thought that was scary, just wait until you see the crashes our next champion, Fernando Alonso, has been through. I'll start off by giving an honourable mention to his mind-bending crash at the 2016 Australian Grand Prix. It was lap 17, and Alonso was gaining rapidly on the Haas of Esteban Gutierrez. As they raced down the second straight at over 180 miles per hour, Alonso opened his DRS, ready to make the overtake. But in an instant, disaster struck.
It was just a glancing blow at first, wasn't it? But as we look at these replays, the race has actually now been red flagged.
That crash just leaves me speechless. Alonso's car was nothing but a pile of scrap metal, and for a second, it looked like Formula One had claimed the life of another legend. But then,
Fernando Alonso, and you can see Alonso sat by the barrier and getting himself up, walking very gingerly indeed. We've got a safety car, and that's a massive impact. Fernando Alonso looks a little bit winded and a little bit shocked by that.
wow, that was nothing short of a miracle. While it seems impossible to top a crash like that, for me his incident at Brazil in 2003 takes things to a whole nother level of danger. The weather on Sunday was treacherous, with non-stop rain setting the stage for an utterly insane race. Cars were crashing left, right and centre, but the worst of all was Mark Webber's crash on lap 54. He lost control of his Jaguar, slamming into the barriers before spinning across the track, littering the whole circuit with debris. The oncoming drivers did their best to avoid the carnage, but Alonso was simply unlucky.
Fisichella past Raikkonen. Oh!
Nasty. He hit the stationary tyre, of course, and terrible accident there for Fernando Alonso.
He barely had the strength to get out of the car and was visibly shaken. How on earth he was even conscious is beyond me. The medics rushed him to the hospital, but not before Alonso could at least give the crowd some assurance he was okay. But in a strange twist of fate, the chaos of that lap saw the race red flagged, with the final results being taken from the previous lap. This mean Alonso, who had been running in third, claimed a podium place, despite not actually being able to collect his trophy. So, at least that crash had somewhat of a happy ending. I think it's fair to say every champion so far has gotten away pretty lightly for how severe the crashes have been. But unfortunately for Michael Schumacher, he wasn't so lucky with his crash at the 1999 British Grand Prix. As the lights went out, everything seemed normal, with the drivers battling for each and every position. But as the cars approached Stowe Corner at over 120 miles per hour, nobody could have possibly imagined what would happen next. Michael's Ferrari had experienced a sudden rear brake failure, leaving the champion a mere passenger as he ploughed headfirst into the barriers. He was seen moving almost immediately, appearing more frustrated than anything. But as he tried to lift himself out of the car, he was stopped by a shearing pain in his right leg. Medics rushed to the scene, quickly escorting Michael to the ambulance, where he was given immediate medical attention. Later scans would reveal that Michael's right leg had been broken in 2 places, a debilitating injury which was not only immensely painful, but also crushed his championship dreams, as he missed the next 6 rounds of the season. Now that is just painful to watch. But which crash do you think was worst? And if you love watching crashes, check out this video on Lance Stroll, because crashing is his specialty.